Good morning, students. Sorry, good afternoon, students.
Good afternoon.
Yes. Is my voice reaching to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, in last lecture, actually, we have started discussion on the applications of interference, and in that we have covered two topics. That is nothing but determination of wavelength of light, and the second one, determination of refractive index of light. Okay. So, who will tell what is the formula for the determination of wavelength of light? Formula that we have seen in last lecture. Yes, Ritesh Tambori. Ritesh, are you there? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what was the formula for determination of wavelength of light?
And mu is equal to d square m plus p minus d square m upon d square m plus p of
Ritesh, we
liquid.
are talking about wavelength of light. So wavelength is determined with the letter lambda. So I am
Yes, ma'am. 1 minute.
asking
Sorry,
formula for
ma'am.
lambda.
Yes, ma'am. Lambda is equal to d square m plus p minus d square m upon 4 pr.
Okay. And what about the second thing, mu, Vaishnavi? The first that we have seen is determination of wavelength of light. Lambda is equal to d square m plus p minus d square m divided by 4 pr. Next to that we have seen determination of refractive index of any liquid. So what was the formula? Yes, Vaishnavi.
D square m plus p minus d square m in air medium upon d square m plus p in liquid medium minus d square m in liquid medium.
Yes, means you have to take the difference, or you can take ratio of the diameter differences in the air medium divided by diameter differences in the liquid medium. So by doing that you can determine refractive index of any of the liquid. Okay. Now in today's lecture we are going to talk about two more applications. One is optical flatness, another one is anti-reflection coating. Okay, so first we will see the optical flatness, and for that I would like to ask you, if I mention this term optical flatness, okay, I put the word in the chat box so you people can see. Okay, so by seeing this word, what comes in your mind? Optical flatness, what it will be? Can you give me the meaning of that two words? Yes, Prachi?
मैम जो ग्लास होगा वो पॉलिश रहेगा, पूरा एकदम फ्लैट रहेगा, मतलब
Yes. Basically, flatness related to the surfaces that we know.
यस मैम.
Yes. Here we are going to talk about optical flatness. Means if you consider the optical properties of that surface, that will be similar at each and every point. Okay. So surface flatness, you might have seen there are several methods to check the surface flatness of any of the surface. One would be the observation, another would be by touching the surface you can say that surface is flat or not. Now to check the optical flatness, again we need to use the Newton's ring experiment. Okay, so how to use that I'm going to show to you. Okay. Today I can't see your chat box, so if you want to say something, kindly unmute and then you can put your point. And if some people are waiting in the waiting section, then that also let me know. Okay, because after
Okay.
presenting the screen I can't see who are there. Is the screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So this we have already talked about what are the applications. So now we are going to talk about the third application, that is nothing but the to check the optical flatness of the surface. Then we are going to talk about anti-reflection coating and rest of the two. This we have seen yesterday, the formula and refractive index. This was the formula that we have seen for the refractive index of liquid. Okay, now as I said, to check the optical flatness of a surface we need to use Newton's ring experiment. So here on the screen you can see the arrangement of Newton's ring pattern. You can see the sodium vapor lamp, then glass plate, traveling microscope, plano-convex lens and glass plate. Okay, now here in this particular arrangement you have to make one change, and what will be that change? That change will be, in place of that plano-convex lens you have to put the test material. Now what will be the test material? Test material will be the material or object of which we have to determine the optical flatness. Okay, so any surface of which we are interested to see that particular object is optically flat or not, that we are going to put in place of plano-convex lens, means that will be above the glass plate. Okay, now the glass plate that is selected for the Newton's ring experiment is already a optically flat surface. So whenever you will put the test material, if that is optically flat, of course there will be a similar contact at each and every point. If that material is irregular, of course there will be a variation in the air film which is there in between the test material and glass plate. Okay, now how will be the changes, or what you can observe in the traveling microscope? If the test surface is optically flat, then through the traveling microscope you can see alternate bright and dark bands that are shown on the right hand side. But if that surface is not optically flat, of course there will be a irregular pattern due to irregularities in the thickness of the air film, and as thickness is varying at each and every point, of course the interference pattern generated over there will be irregular one. Okay, and if the test piece is perfectly flat, then you will get alternate bright and dark bands that are shown over here. Here you can see. Again you can see whether that particular surface is having a convex nature or concave nature. So that is also you can get with the help of this. Okay, so here you can see, if the concave surface is there, then such kind of pattern will be there. If convex surface is there, such kind of pattern you people may see over there. Okay, so that is related to the optical flatness. Just a second. Okay, now the next is there any doubt in optical flatness, or if you want to say something you can ask. Is there any doubt?
No.
Okay. Then the fourth application is anti-reflection coating. Many of you may be using the glasses, or you might having spectacles. Same is for me. I use the spectacles because my vision is not clear. Okay, so the students or the people who uses the spectacles, they might be knowing this particular term, anti-reflection coating. So whenever we go to the optical shop to purchase new spectacles, generally that person, shopkeeper, asks you that do you want to have some kind of coating on your glasses. Okay, so doing the coating and not doing the coating, what will be the result? That you can see over here. If you put the anti-reflective coating on the glasses, of course vision will be clear, and if that coating is not there, only simple glass you use, then of course the vision will be little bit blur, or at the night time it creates the trouble to the viewer. Okay, so that's why generally people go for the anti-reflective coating. So is there any student who is having such kind of experience, or the student who uses the spectacles and they knows this kind of difference? Is there anyone? If yes, just say yes. If no, just say no. Okay, those who want to say yes. See, if I get reply from you, then I get to know that yes, we are connected. If you don't respond, then of course it is very problematic for me to continue. Okay, so might be you have done all that things, but you are not knowing that what you have done. So basically we put the anti-reflective coating on the glasses. Generally there are various kinds of colors that you can get on the glasses. Some maybe are having a violet color coating, some are having green color coating, some are having pink color coating. So all that coatings are nothing but the anti-reflective coating. Now how that anti-reflective coating is related to our interference, that we are going to see now. Okay, so these are the differences with respect to anti-glare coating or anti-reflective coating and without anti-reflecting coating. Okay, basically for night vision, if you are having that coating, then it is very convenient for you to see the surrounding. Okay, now it is not the case that only the spectacles or glasses that people use, they are having such kind of coating. Many of the optical instruments they uses such kind of coatings, because we know many of the instruments such as telescopes or cameras, they use various kinds of lenses. Okay, so multiple lenses or multiple glasses are there in various kinds of optical instruments. Now what happen if various kinds of glasses are there? Like we know, whenever a light incident on the glass surface, what happens over there? If a light incident on the glass surface, what will happen over there?
Refraction.
There are chances to have the reflection, as well as there are chances to have the refraction. Okay, at the start of our first lecture related to the interference, I have shared one image on the EP discussion group, which gives you idea about how there will be a reflection and how there will be a refraction. Okay, so basically in that figure it is mentioned, whenever a light comes in contact with a thin film, so less amount of light will get reflected. In that image you might have seen, if 100% light is incident on the surface, only 4% get reflected, 96% of the light intensity get refracted. Okay, but if that thin film is not there, if the plane surface is there, then what will happen? High amount of light will get reflected. Okay, and to work with such kind of instruments like telescopes and cameras, we generally want that whatever is light is coming on that glasses, that should go to the system. Or if you consider the case of spectacles, then if the high amount of light is reflecting from the surfaces, from the glass surfaces, then of course that light will not reach to our retina, and that's why the vision becomes blur. Okay, but if that coating is there, what will happen? Only small amount of light will get reflected, high amount of light will get refracted, and it will go towards our eyes, and the vision will become clear. And the same purpose you can correlate the same things with telescopes and cameras. where if you don't use anti-reflective coating, high amount of light will get reflected and less amount of light will go to the system, and whatever picture quality you get through the camera or telescope, that will be of very small quality. Okay, blur images can be seen over there. But if the anti-reflecting coatings are made on the glass surfaces, then of course the vision or the image quality will get improved over there. Now, the person known as Alexander Smakula, who was working in the Carl Zeiss company, he has discovered this particular phenomenon of anti-reflecting coating. What he has done, he has put a transparent thin film on the glass surface, and he has termed that particular process as the anti-reflecting coating of the glass materials. Okay, and with the help of that, he has achieved the high amount of quality in the images or quality in the vision. Okay, Carl Zeiss company, you might have known about this particular word. They produces various kinds of telescopes, or they produces high amount of glasses, high quality glasses basically. Okay, so the glass, if you want to purchase the glass of Carl Zeiss, it cost more because the quality is of high magnitude. Okay, so basically coating thin transparent film on the glass surface, that is nothing but the anti-reflecting coating. And to have that anti-reflecting coating, basically dielectric materials are used. Okay, so with the help of dielectric materials, we can have the coating on the glass surfaces, and that is known as anti-reflection coating. Okay, so this is related to this particular point, very small point, and small discussion is provided in your syllabus. Is there any doubt up to this? Is there any doubt?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
As there is a power cut, it is very problematic for me that my laptop will get off at any moment of time. So while having the discussion, I'll ask something to you to check that connection is there and there is no problem in our meeting. Okay, so
Yes, ma'am.
okay, so this we have seen. Now next to that, and this is the image that I think I have shared such kind of image to you to give you the account of thin film interference, or say here in this image that T is nothing but the thickness of that film or anti-reflecting film on the glass surface. So if eye intensity, the light of eye intensity is incident on the surfaces, of course it will have the reflection that will be of very small magnitude, and refraction will be of high magnitude. So that image you may refer through our EP discussion group. Okay. Next to that, some numerical problems are there based upon the formulas that we have seen. Like here, the formula that we have seen is the first determination of radii of dark ring, then determination of radii of bright ring we have seen, and in that you people have seen some kinds of formulas are associated with that 2 points. Next to that, we have seen the wavelength determination. So the formula related to lambda is also having some numerical problems in your syllabus. Then the formula related to the determination of refractive index mu, so that is also having some kinds of numerical problems. So the first numerical problem that I would like to pose over here is this one. I'll suggest all of you take a screenshot, because as I said, power cut is there, my laptop will get off at any moment of time. So if before 1:15 our meeting get ended, then this will be the part that you can do at your end, and what is the answer and all that things that we will discuss in the next lecture. Okay, so take a screenshot of this problem. If power cut is there before 1:15, then up to 1:15 you can have you can solve this particular problem through mobile. Again, I'll join the lecture, no problem in that, but meanwhile, before I join or whatever is the meantime, in that you can solve this particular problem. So what is written over here? In Newton's ring experiment, radius of curvature of surface is provided, that is 50 centimeter. Then radii of two rings, 9th and 16th rings are provided, that radii are 0.18 centimeter and 0.2235 centimeter respectively. And here it is asked you to calculate wavelength of light used. Now basically, while solving any numerical problem, there are certain steps. So that steps are, first you have to write what is given. So whenever you will solve the numerical problem, at that point you have to make these steps in compulsion. First write given data, and whatever is provided in the numerical statement, that you have to write at first. Like here, what is given? At first it is mentioned that radius of curvature of curved surface is provided, that is nothing but the 50 centimeter. Okay, next to that, radii of 9th and 16th rings are given, so r9 and r16 are provided. Okay, so you can see the values over here. Now through the radius, of course, you can determine the diameter, so you have to do that thing. And here in the problem it is asked what is the wavelength of light. Okay, so lambda is equal to question mark is provided. Next to this, next to the step of given data, now you have to put a formula over here. So what will be the formula which is suitable for the given problem?
mu is equal to d square m plus p bracket complete minus d square m air medium divided by d square m plus p liquid minus d square m liquid bracket complete.
We are talking about wavelength determination. So I am asking the formula for lambda. Lambda is equal to what? That we have to calculate. So the first application that you have seen, that you have to mention over here. Okay. Formula for lambda? Yes. Whoever is given the answer, that answer is correct, but that was for mu, refractive index. Okay. See, now we are having the power, no problem. So we can discuss this in detail. So what is the formula for lambda, Sanika?
Yes, ma'am. Lambda is equal to d square m plus p minus d square m divided by 4p r.
Yes. The same formula that we are going to use over here is nothing but the lambda is equal to, lambda is equal to d square m plus p minus d square m divided by 4pr. Now first calculate the d9 and d16. Then you have to find out what will be the p over here. Okay. Once you get d16 and d9, you can put that values in the formula. If you can, from that ring number, you can calculate the value of p, and by putting all that values in the formula, you will get the wavelength, that is nothing but the lambda. So I'll give you 2 minutes to solve this particular problem, and after 2 minutes you have to put what is your answer in the chat box. Or if you are having any doubt in this, you can ask at this moment. If you are having no doubt, then I'll stop presenting my screen so that I can see the chat box, solve the problem and give me the answer in the chat box. Is there any doubt? Roll number 12, Sayyid Maruf Ali. Is there any problem?
मॅम ते नेटवर्क इश्यू असल्यामुळे लीव झाला.
Yes, Pranali?
मैम वो मेनली पीसी के ऊपर से ज्वाइन होता है तो वो आंसर मेनली चैट बॉक्स में देता है.
Okay, so if you are having any problem, you may ask, otherwise you can solve the numerical and give me the answer. What will be the lambda? Okay, one suggestion, ma'am, take the attendance till then. Okay, no problem. Thank you, Farhan, for reminding me about the attendance. Okay, I'll again present the screen so that you people can see your attendance. Okay. Roll number 1,
Present, ma'am.
2,
Present, ma'am.
3,
Present, ma'am.
4,
Present, ma'am.
5, पतंगे अमित.
मॅम तो जॉईन झाला पण बहुतेक नेटवर्क इश्यू मध्ये गेला असेल.
बरं, ठीक आहे, तो जर नंतर जॉईन झाला तर त्याला अटेंडन्स द्यायला सांगा. 6,
Present, ma'am.
7,
Present, ma'am.
8,
Present, ma'am.
9, roll number 9,
Present, ma'am.
10, 11,
Present, ma'am.
12,
मैम वो भी प्रेजेंट है.
हाँ, 13,
Present, ma'am.
14,
मैम कुद्दूस शेख प्रेजेंट है.
15,
प्रेजेंट, मैम.
16, शिंदे यश, 17,
Present, ma'am.
18, where is it? Yes, 18,
Present, ma'am.
19,
प्रेजेंट, मैम.
20,
Present, ma'am. Renika.
21, 22,
Present, ma'am.
23,
Present, ma'am.
24,
Present, ma'am.
25,
Present, ma'am.
26,
Present, ma'am.
27,
Present, ma'am.
28.
Present, ma'am.
So absent roll numbers are 21, Shivanarayan, Telangre, then Shinde Yash, Rajput Vishal, and Patange Amit. Okay, so hope you people have solved the numerical, and if yes, give me the answer.
मॅम पॉइंट मध्ये येतं का आन्सर म्हणजे थोडी
See, normally wavelength is in, we have to denote that wavelength in the angstrom unit. So make that conversion. Okay, wavelength should be in the angstrom.
ओके मॅम.
So you can take raised to power.
यस मैम.
मैम अमित ज्वाइन कर रहा है बट उसका हो नहीं रहा है ज्वाइन.
I can't see anybody is waiting.
मैम बोल रहा है नेटवर्क इशू है.
Ask him to switch off the mobile, then switch on, and then try to join.
ओके मैम. मैम
Yes?
आंसर 7343.5 असं काही होतं का?
No.
ओके मैम.
First, convert that radius into the diameter. Then use the formula d16 square minus d9 square divided by 4 16 minus 9 into r. Okay, all that units that you are going to take over there, they are in centimeters. Like the radii given are in centimeter, then radius of curvature of lens is in centimeter. So whatever answer you will get, that will be in the centimeter. You have to convert that centimeter into angstrom. Yes, done.
मैम 1.4431.
No. Okay. I'll.
0.5.
Yes.
3.50.
No, I don't know where you people are doing the mistake, but I'll share the answer, and then after the lecture, if you are having time, then kindly go through it so that whatever are the problem from your side, that will get minimized. Okay. So this given data, after the given data, as I mentioned, you have to mention the formula. So here formula is lambda is equal to d square m plus p minus d square m divided by 4pr. Now here in the problem statement, radii are provided. So multiplying that radii by the factor 2, you can get the diameter you can get. Okay. So by taking that diameter, now you have to calculate the wavelength. Okay. So here first what is done, from the R9, D9 is determined. From R16, D16 is determined. Then we should know this P. So P is nothing but the relative distance in between two rings. So here we know the 9th ring is given and 16th ring is given. So 16 minus 9, the value of P will be 7 over here. Okay. And the answer that you can get after the calculation is lambda is equal to 5014 angstrom. Okay. So kindly see where you have done the mistake, and
Yes,
in the
ma'am.
next. Yes.
समजलं मॅम. ते आम्ही सेंटीमीटर मध्येच करू शकतो त्याच्यामध्ये.
Ha, so centimeter factor you have to convert into angstrom unit. Okay. So in the angstrom, generally wavelengths are there. If you talk about say sodium vapor lamp, which is used in the experiment, so it is having the wavelength in the range of 5000 angstrom. 5896 is the exact answer, but in the range of 5000 angstrom, generally you can get the wavelength of sodium vapor lamp. Okay. So like this, there will be the numericals. Okay. Second numerical is provided on the screen. Take a screenshot at first, and of course as a homework you may solve this particular problem. Okay. So hope you people have taken the screenshot. I'll quickly go towards the next slide. Hope you have not seen the answer. Okay. So that numerical you are going to solve as a homework, and in the next lecture you are going to give me the answer of that. In tomorrow's lecture, you have to give me the answer of second numerical. Okay. Is there any problem up to this?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
Okay. So after the interference, in interference we have seen what is the interference, the special case of interference, that is Newton's ring experiment, and then we have seen the applications of interference. Now we are going to talk about the second optical phenomenon, which is the part of your unit number 1, and that is nothing but the diffraction of light. Okay, so already in 12th you have seen the definition of diffraction. So I would like to get from you people what is diffraction of light and how diffraction is visible to all of us. Any example, if you are knowing, that you can give me that example.
And the phenomenon of bending of light when it passes from one medium to another medium is called diffraction.
Okay, bending of light part is correct, but whatever you have said, when it passes
At
from
the edges
one-
of an obstacle, ma'am.
Yes. So whenever light passes through an edge of an obstacle, or if light passes through very small opening, like you can see on the screen, one image is provided. Here you can see the light rays are coming, and that light rays are passing through a small opening. Okay. So if such kind of case is there, you can observe the diffraction pattern. Here the diffraction pattern will look like this. The two things are provided. Like in interference pattern, what we have seen, there are alternate bright and dark bands. Okay. Here you can get alternate bright and dark bands, but there will be intensity variation. The central point or central patch will have high amount of intensity. So that high amount of intensity is determined with the help of one wave diagram over here, and after that central spot, whatever bright spots are there, there will be decrease in the light intensity. So that is nothing but the diffraction of light. Of course we are going to talk about this in more detail. So diffraction is nothing but the slight bending of light as it passes around the edges of an obstacle, or if it passes through a small opening, you can observe the diffraction. Now to get a diffraction, of course there is one most important thing you have to consider when you talk about diffraction, and that condition or that thing is the dimensions of the obstacle. If you are saying the light is passing from the very huge object or through the object which is having high dimensions, then you can't observe the diffraction over there. In order to get a diffraction, the sizes or the size of the opening or obstacle should be very small, or how much small it should be, the dimensions should get comparable to the wavelength of light incident on it. Okay, so if that is the condition, then and then only you can observe the diffraction over there. The amount of bending depends upon the relative size of the wavelength of light to the size of the opening. So whatever, if the dimensions of the obstacle and the value of wavelength, they are in a same range, you can observe the diffraction over there, otherwise there will not be diffraction. Okay. The same thing is explained with the help of this particular figure. Here in the first case you can see the opening is quite large. So through the opening, whenever a light passes, what will happen? The light will simply get transmitted through the open area. But if the openings are very small, you can observe over here, there will be the bending of light and light will change its direction. So that is nothing but the diffraction. In order to have the diffraction, the opening or the obstacle should have very small dimensions. How much small? That should get comparable to the wavelength of light. Like in the while solving the numericals, what you have observed, the light is having, or the wavelength that we have got is in the range of angstrom. Okay, so generally you should have that much small obstacles. whose openings or whose slits are having the dimensions or the diameter or the width in the range of micrometer, nanometer or angstrom. If that is the case, if that dimensions get comparable to the wavelength that is coming in contact with it, then only you will get the diffraction over there. Okay, so that is the case. Now, as I said, while having the diffraction, what is the object that plays the important role? Okay, now in order to get the diffraction pattern, or if you want to generate a diffraction pattern, you will need the dimensions, you will need the obstacles which are having very small dimensions, and for that there are specifically designed instruments. That instrument is known as diffraction grating. Okay, so in order to generate a diffraction pattern, you should have the diffraction grating over there. This is related to diffraction of light. Okay, so if you want to have the diffraction of light, you need to use diffraction grating. So have you heard this word before this lecture at any moment of time, or this is the first time that you are hearing this particular word, diffraction grating?
Ma'am, first time.
Okay, first time. One question, girl students may give the answer. Of course, the male students also knows this particular word. What is grater? Grater. The one thing or grating is the, what we can say, one process that generally used in the kitchens. So what is the grating or what is a grater?
म्हणजे
And it is used to slice the potatoes or like that, having small ones.
I can't hear. So those who are
कद्दूकस
giving
म्हणतात मॅम तसं.
the, yes,
मैम जो हम गाजर कद्दूकस करते हैं, कुछ भी कद्दूकस करते हैं, वैसे वाले मटेरियल्स.
yes. Or you can say grater is the instrument that generally ladies or girls use in the kitchen, with which we can grate various kinds of objects, like you have said about the pumpkin.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so various vegetables generally we can grate with the help of grater. Okay, so here we are going to talk about diffraction grating. Why I have asked this particular question to all of you? Because the term is very well known to all of you. Grating term is known to all of you. Now we have to link that grating term with the diffraction. So in order to generate a diffraction, again we are going to use a grating over here, but that grating will be a specialized grating. Like in the grater, what you have seen, there are certain spots through which you can cut the material. Okay, alternate you can see that kind of spots are provided on the grater. Some openings are there, and if you are using the metallic grater, some metal surface, then opening, metal surface, opening, such kind of pattern is there as far as the kitchen grater is concerned. If you talk about the diffraction grating, then basically diffraction grating is nothing but a glass slide. Like I have provided one image on which it is written a glass slide. Now to transform it into a diffraction grating, what we need to do? We need to cut the glass slide in such a manner there will be alternate slicing, or on that glass plate generally vertical lines are made with the help of diamond cutter. Very small lines, alternate the lines are made in such a manner that there will be a glass portion, then one scratch is made with the help of diamond cutter, then there will be a glass portion, then there will be a scratch with the help of diamond cutter. Okay, so scratches are made on the diffraction grating, and that scratches are very, very small, and that's why generally the instrument known as diamond cutter is used for such kind of applications. Okay, so the diffraction grating, if you one want to give the definition of diffraction grating, then it is nothing but the component of optical devices of a surface ruled with close, equidistant and parallel lines for the purpose of resolving light into spectra. Okay, so a glass surface on which we are going to rule that glass surface with the help of diamond cutter to get a close, equidistant and parallel lines over it. Okay, and with the help of that we can generate the diffraction pattern. Now in real, how that diffraction grating looks, that the example is provided here. Okay, so here you can see whatever is this metallic slit, you can see this is the metallic slit. The middle portion is nothing but the glass slide. On that glass slide, of course, scratches are made with the help of diamond cutter, and here you can see a laser beam is passing through that glass slide. On this side you can see the single beam is seen, but on the other side on the screen you can see the light has bended, light has changed its direction, and the diffraction pattern is visible on the screen. How is the diffraction pattern? At the middle point you can see high amount of intensity, maximum intensity is there at the central spot, and after this central spot on the left hand side and on the right hand side there are certain spots with less amount of intensity. As this central point is having high amount of intensity, it is called as central maxima. Then the point on this side is known as first order maxima. Same, the point on the left hand side is also known as first order maxima. Basically, if you vary the distance in between this screen and diffraction grating, you can see certain more points. Some more points are visible in the diffraction pattern. So the next point to first order maxima is known as second order maxima. Then there will be a third order maxima like this. Okay, but you need to keep in mind the central point with maximum intensity, central order maxima. Then on the left and right hand side you will get the first order maxima. Next to that on both the sides you will get second order maxima like this. And whatever is the portion in between these maximas, that is nothing but the darkness, and that is termed as the minima. Okay, so alternate maxima and minima pattern you can get if a monochromatic light is passes through a diffraction grating. Whatever is the pattern generated, that is known as the diffraction pattern. Okay, so this is about the diffraction grating and diffraction pattern. Do you have any doubt up to this?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so if no,
No.
then one important thing with respect to diffraction grating that we have to see, like the diffraction grating, as I said, on a glass slide certain scratches we need to make. Whatever you know about the metal grater, just a minute, I'll take the pointer. Okay, in metal grater what we know, there will be a metal surface, then there will be opening, then metal surface, then there will be opening. So like this in diffraction grating there will be a glass slide, then scratch, then glass slide, scratch. Such kind of pattern will be there. Now as I said, these linings are very small. They are having very small dimensions. How much amount of small dimensions are there? That can be that one need to know, and for that one particular term is provided with respect to any of the grating. That is nothing but the grating constant. Okay, in order to determine the grating constant you should know certain things. Like here one statement is provided on the screen. It says that a diffraction grating is characterized by total number of slits. Slits means the scratches or lines that are made over there. Okay, so how much amount of lines are there? Basically that is denoted with the letter capital N. Okay, and the distance D in between two adjacent lines. Here you can see the first line is there, then second line is there. So whatever is the distance in between that two is termed as D. So with respect to any grating you should know how many slits are there or what is the total count of that scratches. Then you should know the distance in between two scratches. Okay, and the between the centers of the adjacent slits, which is known as the grating period. So that D is nothing but the grating period. Now, as I said, we need to know grating constant of any of the grating. So in order to determine the grating element or grating constant of any of the element, basically there is one formula, and that formula we are going to talk over here. Okay. So first I would like to enlarge this particular grating. As I said on the glass slide, certain scratches are made. So I have taken the enlarged view of that grating. Of course, this is a graphical view. In actual, the things are different. But to make you understand, I have taken this particular image. Here you can see the scratches are like this, they are parallel to each other, and the gap in between two scratches, that is nothing but the glass surface. Okay. So again I'll take the enlarged view of one portion of this grating. So here you can see this is nothing but the glass portion, and the patch with blue color is nothing but the scratch made over here. Okay. So here what we have taken, A is the width of the glass surface and B is the width of the scratch. Okay. Why this has done? To know what is the value of D. Okay. D is nothing but the distance in between two slits. To determine that distance, you should know what is the value of A and what is the value of B. So A is nothing but the distance between two slits, B is nothing but the slit width, it is termed as the slit width, and D is nothing but the A plus B. That A we have seen is the glass surface, B is nothing but the width of the scratch. Okay. So how to determine A plus B? Of course, if you are going to measure this distance and this distance, that will be a critical one. To avoid that kind of problems, one formula is provided in order to calculate that A plus B. So the formula is 1 inch divided by number of lines. Okay. So to determine the properties of any of the grating, diffraction grating, you have to see how many lines are made on that grating in 1 inch area. Okay. So basically the grating that we people use in the laboratory, or the students grating that are used for the laboratory purpose while doing the diffraction related study, they are having 15,000 lines in 1 inch area. Okay. So here what is done? The 1 inch is converted into the centimeter, and we know 1 inch is nothing but the 2.54 centimeter divided by number of lines in 1 inch. As I said, there are 15,000 lines, so 2.54 divided by 15,000 is this A plus B factor. Okay. So can you people tell me what will be the value of A plus B if you do this mathematical calculations? What will be the value of A plus B if the factor is 2.54 divided by 15,000? Simply you have to make this division. 2.54 divided by 15,000. What will be the value? Yes. Are you people listening to me?
16.933.
Around 7.
Yes.
16.93.
The value is A plus B is equal to 1.69 into 10 to the power minus 4 centimeter. Okay. Because the factors are provided in the centimeter. So A plus B is nothing but the grating constant that you have to use in our next practical, and that one should know with respect to each and every grating. If you are doing some study with respect to diffraction, if you are using any diffraction grating, then what is the A plus B, value of A plus B for that diffraction grating, that one should know, because various gratings are having various factors with respect to this number of lines. Number of lines is the term that can be varied for each and every grating. So whatever grating you are using, first you need to see how many number of lines are there in 1 inch area, and whenever you will see any of the grating in actual, this particular factor is written over it. Okay, so by taking that factor you can get the grating period, grating constant, that is nothing but the A plus B. Okay. Now the scientist who has done the lot study related to the diffraction of light or diffraction grating is the Joseph von Fraunhofer, who has made the first diffraction grating. And to make that diffraction grating, what he has done, he has taken 2 screws. In between that screws he has wounded some wires, and the wire of very small dimensions. Then there will be the opening or open space is there. Next to that again there is a parallel wire. So by making arrangement of such wires, he has generated the grating. But nowadays we are using different kinds of gratings where the glass slide is used basically. Okay. So the grating, is there any doubt up to this diffraction grating and all? Is there any doubt? So if you people are having no doubt, then quickly we are having 4 minutes. So quickly I will talk about the grating theory. So what happens whenever light passes through diffraction grating? Of course, whatever are the points, scratches, from that scratches there will be the bending of light, and locus of all that points is collected on the screen. So the similar kind of propagations made after having interaction of light and diffraction grating that are responsible to generate alternate bright and dark bands or patches of central maxima and first order various maximas and minimums can be plotted on the screen if you put a diffraction grating in front of the incoming light. Okay, and bending can be seen over there. Okay, so basically when you can get diffraction pattern, like in case of interference we have seen there are certain conditions. If that conditions get satisfied, then you can get the constructive interference. If particular condition gets satisfied, then you can get the destructive interference. So with respect to interference we have seen certain conditions. Now in case of diffraction, where one can achieve the diffraction, so for that the important condition is we need to see what is the path difference of the incoming light rays. If that path difference is equal to AC sin theta. Now what is AC sin theta? For that I suggest all of you first take a screenshot of this particular image, then I'll give it to you the second image. Take a screenshot. We are going to discuss about these 2 figures at first. Just a second. Okay. So have you taken the screenshot of that 2 images?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So again with that numerical, this will be a homework. Draw these figures in your notebook, because if you understand these 2 figures, then only that particular formula will be easy for all of us to understand the diffraction pattern. So I'll stop presenting here, because to discuss about this AC sin theta, we are going to talk about these 2 figures at first, and then we will have the discussion. So the homework will be, the first homework that you have to solve the second numerical that I have provided to you, and the second thing, you are going to draw these 2 images on your notebook. So in the next part we are going to discuss about it. So if you are having no doubt, then of course you people may leave the meeting. If anybody is having the doubt, you can stay here and you can ask your queries. Yes. Any doubt?
हेलो मैम
Yes. Pawan.
मैम वो माइक्रोसॉफ्ट टीम्स का जो है ना वो मेरा भी नहीं हो रहा है
Okay.
उसमें पासवर्ड रॉन्ग बता रहा है
Password you people may change, but okay, I'll give the procedure by tomorrow noon. Okay. It will require some amount of time from my side. Maybe tomorrow afternoon I can give you the answer what to do in this case.
मॅम तुम्ही त्या सरला आमच्याकडून रिक्वेस्ट करू शकता की गुगल क्लासरूम वर घ्या असं.
I can't request from my side because see, every platform is having its some pros and cons. Like Google Meet is also having some pros and cons. Then